part of Project 571, genetically engineered vampire created to destroy evil.
What do you want?
We need your help to kill a vampire.
Malleus Maleficario. It was written by a witch. The first witch. Titania.
That was a little snippet from The Witch's Hammer, the first film I ever solo directed, and it's just been remastered and re-released on Amazon. So if you like witches and vampires, then please do check it out. Anyway, let's get on with this week's episode. Hi, Jim here. This week I thought I'd give you some insights into some of the things I wish I'd known when I started making movies 20 something years ago. So these are actually 20 things that I wish I'd known. They relate to all aspects of filmmaking and I think could potentially help you if you're making a short or a feature film. So here we go. Write to what you have. So when you're starting at the script stage, at the very beginning of the process, write a list of everything you've got access to, from locations, props, actors you know and trust, people you want to work with. Get those on a piece of paper, and when you write your screenplay, make sure you include all of those things. The hardest thing you're going to come across finding is locations, because oftentimes it's about how much time you get in a location and what you have access to. So if you've got locations already in the bag, then make sure they're in your screenplay. A personal bugbear of mine, is something that I think always turns up in student films, is houses with magnolia walls, because a lot of houses do have magnolia walls, especially student accommodation. So if you can avoid magnolia walls, if you find yourself in a location and all you've got are those walls, my two tips are: one, go to a fabric shop. In a fabric shop you can buy meters and meters of interesting material that you can hang on the walls, make it look like wallpaper without damaging any walls. My second one would be to take that action outside. So have that scene outside in the open. You can get a lot more interesting background than sat in a room with magnolia walls. Number two, teach while you lead. Now, if you're a director or a producer, you need to remember that everybody below you is probably there's some people who are doing those roles for the very first time. So you want to give them as much knowledge as possible. You want to make this a real learning experience for them. So do be open. Do teach your knowledge to other people. They need it, and you'll be amazed later on how grateful they are for that knowledge and understanding later on in their careers. Who knows, you might bump into them later on and need their help. So it's worth sharing the knowledge and teaching while you learn. Number three, stop and smell the roses. Now, I often find myself when I'm making a feature film, sometimes I forget that that's the one thing I want to do because I'm so stressed with all of the shots I need to get, the time maybe, the money running out. So occasionally make sure you take some time to stop and smell the roses, and remember, this is the thing that you love. Everybody assembled there is making your film, so really stop to take it in and enjoy it. Number four, always go for logic over wow factor. Now, what I mean by this is, and this has happened to me before, I've written a screenplay. So one of the feature films I made, You Might Get Lost. Spoiler alert, in the film, our lead character murdered somebody. Now, in the script, I had a whole sequence where she killed him, she put him in a trunk, she put the trunk in the car, she drove out to this beautiful cliffside, pushed the trunk off the cliff, splash, it hits the water, very dramatic. You know, the sun's setting, she stood on the cliffside and she's just killed him and hidden the body. Now, that sounds amazing, but logically, she wouldn't have been able to lift his body. She wouldn't have been able to lift his body in a trunk into a car, let alone cart it up to a cliffside and have the strength to lift it off the side of the cliff and into the water. Now, rather than come up with some complex way for that to happen, I spoke to my producing partner and wife and I asked her a simple question: what would you do if you murdered me? And her answer was, I'd probably bury you in the garden. And that's what we did with the character. We thought the most logical thing for that character to do in that situation would be to bury the body in the garden. So that's what we did, and it worked in the script. So go for what makes the most sense, because it will make the most sense to the audience, and also it'll be the easiest thing for you to shoot. Casting is everything. It's not just about performance, it's about the actors you choose in those roles, and what they can do with the characters you give them, as well as what they can do for the film as a whole. So really be careful when you're casting your film. It's never been easier to cast a film because you've got the luxury of casting websites online. They'll often let you put adverts up for free to get your casting notices out there. You can do your auditions online, so there's no costly expense of getting someone on a train down to you or even sending tapes in the post. So it's very easy to do your casting. And also it's easy for you to put characters next to each other to check that chemistry is right, because you want to make sure that's all perfect before you get them on set. The other thing you really need to do is make sure that you're casting people who are going to be in the trenches with you and who understand what it is you're undertaking. So micro budget filmmaking is the best. It's amazing, it's really fun, but it is tough and it can be stressful. So you want to make sure the people you choose understand that. You have an honest conversation with them at the casting stage and say, look, this is what it's going to be like. You also co-opt them in to know that when the film comes out, you're going to need their help as well to promote it. And remember, as soon as that camera starts rolling and you're a week into shooting, there is a slight power shift there because you need that actor. You can't afford for them to just walk off the set and go home. You can't afford for there to be any issues. So choose wisely when you're casting a film. Take responsibility, not blame. So this is a good one to take on personally when you're making a film. If something goes wrong, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So you've got to own everything that goes wrong on a set, unfortunately. You've got to fix everything. Or if you've got somebody beside you, a producing partner, your producer or your director, then really between you, you've both got to take those problems on and you've both got to solve them together. Take a packed lunch. So you're going to be one of the only people on set who is constantly in motion. Even when people are going off to lunch or maybe going out to the pub in the evening, you're going to still be planning and thinking about the next shot, the next scene, the next day, the storyboards. So you got to do a little packed lunch for yourself, put some snacks in it, give yourself some water, look after yourself, because sometimes you might feel that energy drop and it might be a really important moment when you need a bit of a boost. So look after yourself, take a packed lunch, always have it on hand, always have a snack. Set your lighting, then leave it alone. So very early when I started filming, I was filming on 16mm and 35mm film. And back then, coming out of university, the DOP was king. So we'd essentially wait around as long as it took, 3-4 hours for a DOP to set a room up because it was on film, it was only shot once, and you were really nervous about making any mistakes. So you'd do a shot and there'd be a little bit of tweaking, do another shot, lots of tweaking, the lights would constantly be tweaked. And obviously giving all of that emphasis on your lighting means you're not spending the time on your characters and your story, let alone all the other issues like sound, continuity, everything else you need to worry about on a set. So my advice would be have a conversation with your DOP, and this probably goes for all of your crew, and say once a scene is set, we're going to keep rolling and keep shooting that shot until we get it in the bag. The worst thing you can have is you can do a shot, shout cut, and then 5 or 6 people all descend on the set. You've got DOPs and camera people tweaking lights, you've got makeup coming in, you've got all sorts of disruptions that are going to distract your cast and that are going to interrupt the flow and slow your day down. Only really big problems or continuity issues should interrupt the flow. So have that conversation, say, right, have we set the lighting? The lighting's going to stay like that now for the rest of this shot. Listen to your sound team. Now, I've made this mistake myself in the past, and I've really come to regret it when it came to post-production. So if they are telling you you need to hold, they're telling you there's background noise or something's wrong, listen to them. They are as important as your camera team, and they really are making half the film for you. Record a take just for sound. So once you get your perfect take, do another one with no camera movements, no background noise. Just record it, just the audio, so that when you come to sound design, you've got an additional option. You've got something that can really save the day if you need it. Also, always let your sound team record some good 1 or 2 minutes of room tone, because again, that's really going to help when you do your sound design. Arrive early and leave late. So you need to be the first person on set to make sure everything starts the way it needs to, and you need to be the last person to leave so it's all wrapped up for the rest of the day. Be honest with your cast and crew. So obviously part of the process is getting people involved and getting them hyped up about the project, getting them excited. But don't promise the moon if you're not able to deliver it. Tell them it's going to be tough. Tell them it's going to be stressful. Tell them you're going to need their help when the film's finished. You're going to need them to promote the movie with you, because they'll be so much more receptive. They'll understand the struggles you're going through, and they'll really want to be part of that team pushing everything forward. Collaborate with your cast. So this is another one that rookie directors often get wrong, is you tell the actor how to say the line, you've got a fixed idea of how that line should be read, and you don't really let the actor do the creative bit, which is kind of why you want them there. You want them to bring this character to life, so you need to trust them to be creative with it, collaborate with them, have lots of conversations about those characters, and lots of what if conversations. Well, what would happen in this instance? Why is this happening? Ask them open questions, get them to give you the answer, and trust me, you'll get a much better performance as a result. If a line doesn't work, change it. So I've been in a situation before where an actor is trying to deliver a line and something's just not clicking. And no matter how you do it and the direction you give, it's still not working. Well, in that instance, it might actually be the line that's bad. So think about either rewriting the line or asking the actor, how would you say this as the character? What do you think they would say instead? And you might find that it was the line that was bad, not their inability to get that performance right on that particular sentence. Always do one more take. People laugh on set because I always say one more, even after I've got the perfect take, because you never know when you get to the edit suite, that extra take you did really might be the thing that saves the day, that helps the edit, or you might see something wrong in the previous takes you didn't even realize was there. So just always do that one more. Everybody's set up. It doesn't cost you that much extra time just to make sure you've got one more in the bank. Edit on paper first. So I storyboard absolutely everything. My storyboards are atrocious, they're just stick men, but for me that's really a Bible that I use when I'm on set, so I can keep track of where I am, and it also helps me know that I've got all the right shots I need to edit the film when it's finished. So that's not really a forced vision of the movie, it's just me saying, right, if I were to edit this tomorrow, I've got all of those shots, I can tick them off, and it's also really good to have that if you find yourself lost. Students are awesome, and I mean that sincerely. When you're doing your production, get some students involved. They are so much more technically savvy than I was when I was studying film some 20 years ago. They come prepared and they're really professional. My tip for this would be hold an interview with students so that you can work out which ones are super serious about filmmaking and are going to be an asset on set. Good stills pay bills. Can't emphasize this one enough. I say it all the time because it is absolutely true. Now more than ever, your artwork and your thumbnail on your film are really what sell it and get people to click on it. So if you've got a stills photographer on set to take posed pictures, so after you've done a take, get the actors to pose in the same sort of positions, freeze them, get some nice photos. Also take a pop-up green screen with you, get them to pose so that you've got some nice clean images for your key art, because you really need those to be able to promote your film and to get eyes on it when it comes out. Finally, let go of the film that's in your head. So it can be frustrating when you've thought about this project over a couple of years, you finally get to start shooting and it doesn't quite look how you thought it would look, or the actors don't quite sound how you thought they'd sound, the characters. So you need to, as soon as you start filming, you've got to let go of that version, because filmmaking's a team sport. You've now got all these other people involved, all of their creativity. You just need to guide that into something that's going to be different to what you originally imagined. The key is to adapt, stay open to ideas, creativity, and let the process shape the end result. Those are my 20 things I wish I'd known when I started making feature films. I hope they help you with your project. If you've got more filmmaking insight, more things you wish you'd known, then drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them. If you're interested in listening to another episode that deals with indie filmmaking, I'd suggest you check out the episode with Gene Dolders, where he talks about making his Giallo horror movie on a low budget. Gene's done really well recently because the film's been officially selected for a ton of festivals, and there's some great insights in that episode. Thanks for listening.